talking to the Blurred Nerd up next on Geek Out SA.
If you do, it's okay.
Yeah.
As long as I don't cuss.
And welcome back to Geek Out SA. It's Friday and we're having fun. We're not cussing.
One of these days we gotta
apparently
do
that
like
was a
behind the scenes videos of us talking to people ahead of time and all the things that we say.
Is it okay to cuss?
I have to ask. I have to ask.
Everybody always asks us, and like it's okay for y'all to say naughty potty words. I'm just not allowed to say them because some of my students watch, and then you know, I try not to say those things
Well,
around.
like if you've heard my podcast, it's like just flies out.
You know, if I wasn't an educator, I may be a little more free-flowing with the things, but not so much.
But welcome, Jen. It's been a long time since you've actually been on the show because you were on, like, what, 3 years ago?
3 or 4. You were at your old location off
Yeah.
of St. Mary's.
Yeah.
Oh, at the studio?
At
with
the studio
Rowan?
for Silver
Yeah.
Fox Studios.
Oh, at Silver Fox. Okay. Oh my gosh, that was a long time
That was a
ago.
long time ago.
You've asked me a few times. It's very hard to find openings in my
I
schedule.
know.
I know he
We're
was
lucky
kind
that
of
we do this
excited.
every Friday at the same time, so we know we're always going to be here. I was looking for an open spot, and I was like, "What? You can go?
I
You
know.
can come?" I was like, "That's awesome."
He was like, guess who's going to come and be on the show? And I'm like, shut up.
They said they need more volume. Okay.
Give him more volume.
Give him more.
He's afraid to give y'all volume because
So-
I tend to be loud.
Yeah,
so.
we tend to be a little bit loud. But thanks to DJ EM210. If you haven't checked out his vlog channel, check it out. It's really cool.
And he's also doing a podcast, so.
And it's cranked all the way to 11. He's got us covered.
Oh, we're covered now.
But why not just do it to 10? Since
I don't know. You just need to move on. So, Jen,
For
you were saying
Spinal
that you
Tap,
do
right?
a podcast like DJ.
Yes.
Let's tell everybody what your podcast is about.
So the podcast is called The Blurred Nerds, and I do it with my partner, the Geek Father, who is a local geek phenomenon,
Yeah.
celebrity
He's
here in
also
town.
been on this show
He's also
and
been on
cracks
the
us
show
up.
twice.
Yeah.
Yes, he's great. And we started a few years ago because we also have our web TV show that doesn't happen on a regular basis like y'all's do. It depends on when we can get out to a convention and film.
Yeah.
And
But y'all have a full-on production crew for that. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll go back to that in a minute. But let's podcast.
So
first.
we wanted to come up with something that we could get some regular content going, and originally we started to do it. I think we were doing it every 2 weeks, and then decided we needed to do it every week as much as possible. And we're called the Blurred Nerds. One, because if you've seen at least me and my crew out at a convention, there's a good chance I have a drink in my hand. Depending on what time of day we record the podcast, we'll have some drinks, and it helps relax us and talk a little bit more freely, get more into the stream of consciousness
Be a little
rants
blurry.
that happen, but also because we kind of blurred the lines of what I guess most people think about who's going to be your nerd, going to different conventions, being into certain properties, whether it's comics, movies, TV shows. We don't look like, I guess, what big media is going to have you see somebody talking
Right.
about nerdy stuff.
And a
Like
lot of times you do it in costume, which is really
Yeah, when we're on
Yeah.
camera, yeah, because I'm already in costume for
Yeah.
the day. I'm not going to go change, and if I'm wearing a costume out in public, I'm proud of the work I put into it.
Right.
So, and I think it relaxes people when you talk to them. If you're in costume, it gives you, if nothing else, a conversation starter.
Right.
Definitely.
Well, I think they don't have to take themselves as seriously.
Yeah.
And so they can just kind of be relaxed and be like, oh, well, this person's just going to be relaxed, and we don't have
Yeah.
to take ourselves so
What
seriously.
also is what's funny is a lot of times when I've interviewed like celebrity guests at conventions in costume, they afterwards will often be surprised at how professional the line of questioning was, because they're not expecting that from somebody in costume either. But I'm not asking questions like they're getting on a media blitz promoting a movie or something like that.
Right.
I try to pull a deep cut to ask about, whether I know they're into some particular board games or something, something they do with their kids, maybe a book they wrote nobody's heard about, something like that. I don't want to ask the same question everybody's getting.
I know we're in the back where the celebrities pass by us all the time, and we're in there researching because we're usually at the same conventions, filming some of the same stuff.
Well, and a lot of times you can have your wish list of who you're going to get to interview, but you don't know who you're going to get to interview. And sometimes somebody pops up where you didn't even know you were going to have a chance to. They're like, "Oh, we're going to get you this person in about a minute." And I was like, "Oh crap! I didn't know I was getting this person." Yeah. So I'll do a skim, and it'd be like either upcoming projects or something they did a decade before, so that they can get questions that they're not expecting.
Yeah.
So
like
I can get a more relaxed answer out of them.
Exactly. Like the last year that I got Stan Lee, the last year he was here, and that was just amazing. I didn't think that was ever going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we just happened to be out, and some people knew us who were there, who were helping, like, with his handlers and stuff. And they were like, "Hey, he has a few minutes. He's just sitting back here. We know y'all would like to go talk to him. Like, if you'll go in real fast, we've asked him."
Yeah.
And we were like, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, if I quit doing this, I could be happy because I got to do that.
That's how the Geek Father felt when he got to interview him a few years ago, too. So he doesn't even... he's glad we got video of it because he doesn't remember the 30 or so seconds that he actually got to talk to him.
Because you're so, like, amped, right?
Yeah. Well,
the first time I got to talk to him, he renamed our show.
Yeah, Geek Out USA.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, he did we had him do a liner, and I think he called us DC TV at first, or GD TV, and everybody started giggling. And he's like, "Was that not it?" And Timmy's like, "It's GVTV. I don't care. It's fine." And then he's like, "No, I'll redo it. So.
When it's Stanley, you don't say anything. You're like, "Thank you. I love you."
Yeah. I will make it work.
Who's one of the ones that you've interviewed that you were like, that's in your memory banks forever? Like, that's one.
Well, it was actually two people. We were in Galveston, and I got to interview Gethin Anthony and Finn Jones when they were both still on Game of Thrones. And it was the first night we were there. I think it was an hour before the room was going to shut down. I didn't really expect them to say yes because, it's Game of Thrones.
Right.
It's very rare HBO or a company that big is going to allow their stars to talk to somebody who's not this big affiliate.
Right.
But they said yes and pulled me up in between them, and as soon as they touched me, I blanked on their names. I could not remember their names, and Timmy starts filming, so I faked a coughing fit. And I had a cold at the time, so it sounded like a real cough, and they're both all concerned, like, "Oh my God, are you okay? Do you need some water?" So I'm coughing, and I turn around and look up at the name cards.
Wow.
So I can get their name cards. I mean, their names in my head to be ready for when we start rolling again, but then they got me water. It's like, I could get the cough down, and then I was prepared to say their names.
That is awesome.
So, and they were very relaxed. It was a great interview. A few years ago, we got to interview the boys from Bitten, and they were characters. Like, they just started cutting up as soon as the camera started rolling, and I was in my Marvel Girl costume, so they were also like messing with my mask and being very playful. And so I love it when somebody relaxes when I'm talking to them. Be nerdy like me, be goofy like me.
Yeah.
Because I feel weird if I am the only goofball. And it makes me feel like, you actually want to talk to a fan and or fan media.
Right.
You know?
One of the ones that I found that was really one of my most favorite interviews was with Sam Jones. Sam Jones.
I knew he was gonna say Sam Jones.
He is like the coolest guy
yeah,
ever.
I've seen every interview I've seen him give to people.
He's great.
He's in it. He's in it.
He's in it. Yes. He's there with you. He treats you like you're a real person who's equal to him. He doesn't treat you like, and you know, because some of the celebrities do treat you like that. They're like, no.
Yeah.
Right? And he never treats you like that.
Or
so,
it's like, yeah, where's your show at?
Yeah.
It's online. No.
Yeah, no.
You're not with an affiliate. I don't want to talk to you.
And it's so hard at these cons because when you're not with an affiliate, you've got to like stand there in line, talk to their person, ask their person if it's okay. Their person has to ask them. Then they're like, well, if you could wait around for 16 hours, depending on how my line is, I might get to you or whatever. And Vincent was nice, and he waited with me for John Noble because I really wanted to.
Oh yeah, he was a great interview too.
He was so great. For
He's
me, John Noble was the base.
He's so funny.
He was so funny. He was so charismatic, and he had agreed to do the interview with us, and his line was really like non-existent. And then all of a sudden, people started coming up. Like we had set up the camera and everything, and people started coming. And then more people started coming, and then more people started coming, and he was like, can y'all stay here for like 2 or 3 hours? Because this is some of the best business I've had all weekend, right? And so we did. We just stood there and kind of like he talked to us like every once in a while he was getting to people in the line and everything. And then eventually we had waited there so long. Bless his heart, he was kind and he stopped the line.
Yeah.
And he said, you know what? I'm going to go with these guys. They're going to interview me real quick. And then I got flustered, and I think I said things were fantastic like 47 times in that interview.
Yeah.
I was like,
oh,
really
I hate it when you're talking to somebody and you start repeating a word.
Uh-huh.
And then you watch it back after, and you're like, oh, why?
Why did I say that? Like, it sounded so much more articulate in my head when we were going through it.
It's like, we're like, you ask a question. Awesome. Okay, and then what about awesome?
We were geeking out at the time. It's hard not to geek out when you're like there and you're like in front of them. They're like, oh, what do I do?
Yeah.
So those are fun things. So you talk about that kind of stuff on the Blurred Nerd, or what do you talk about exactly on the Blurred Nerd?
When a con has just happened and we've been at the con, we'll do a recap of what the con was like. If we have filmed while we're there, we'll tell our listeners, hey, look for this interview coming out on the Geek Vengers channel. But usually we since it's weekly, we talk about current nerd news from the past week. For example, here the past few weeks since Discovery's airing, we do a Discovery recap on each episode because it's a show we're very much into, especially the second season.
We haven't watched the second season yet, but we really want to.
So the second season is just like we're getting some more classic Trek feel.
Oh, really? Okay,
some
nice.
classic Trek themes, episode setup. The writing's a lot better, the character development's a lot better, and they've added this thing called short treks where before season 2 premiered, they did like 8 to 10 minute episodes on the CBS All Access app, which give you some backstory into some other characters. Like there's an episode for Tilly, there's an episode on Saru that shows you him on his home planet before he joined Starfleet. There's episodes set way in the future, which is one of my favorite ones that they put up. And it gives you some more context, not only for the characters, but then they've picked up some pieces in the storylines this second season.
Okay, well, we're going to watch that. I've been wanting to, but we haven't.
We really enjoyed it.
We really enjoyed the first one, and we really saw the potential, and got that kind of feel back to the good old days, and so I wanted to watch it again. So that's okay. That's good to hear from somebody.
Season 2 is like, I mean, each episode has been just better and better. So yeah, so we'll do a Discovery recap, then we do an Orville recap. Since
Girl,
it's
I
both
can't believe y'all are watching
Trek
Orville
at the same time. Well, Orville, it's the next gen. It's next gen. That's what it is. It's basically next gen.
It is, but it's Seth MacFarlane. I don't know. It's
these past few episodes have had barely any comedy in them. Like they're
really?
full on next gen tension.
Well, maybe we'll watch it.
In fact, we just had our first cliffhanger this past week.
Oh, okay.
Last week, where it was like, part 1 to be continued, and like something major happened.
I was like, why is he trying to make like Family Guy in space? Because I'm not. I don't know. That first season, it was just too much for me. It was rough.
It was rough to watch.
It was rough.
See, just like with Discovery, I saw the potential in season 1, and here in season 2, like he's leaning in.
Okay.
To the next gen inspiration.
We'll give it a
chance.
And
then messing with some of the story structure, like leads you to believe a character is a certain way, and then all of a sudden in the second scene, it's like, nope, I'm throwing this at you. It's completely different. Like, Celis was heartbroken over what happened in last week's episode.
Really?
Yeah, like he was like fired up and upset about it.
Okay.
And whereas I was like, because he texted me right after he finished watching it, and I was like, okay, I just finished watching it too, and I am not as emotionally attached to this character as you are, so I'm not that upset about it. Like, I saw it. To me, I can completely see the character development that they have happened. Like, it's not surprising to me. But they set it up this way and built you up to this, and then they just pulled the rug out from under you. It's just like, okay.
You're like, okay.
we feel differently about the character.
Keep that in. We'll talk about it on the show.
No, that was us on the show.
Oh, that was
y'all
on the show.
So you do the Blurred Nerd,
yes.
and we also talked about GVTV, but there's also the background organization, Geek Vengers.
I do too much.
I know. When he was making the image for tonight's show, he's like trying to fit all the different logos on there for all the stuff
I was
that
going,
you do.
and I was like,
I didn't even.
She kind of reminds me of me for some reason.
I didn't even send you all of them.
Yeah.
There was more companies that I represent. I think at least 2 of them that I left off. But yeah, so we have the Geek Vengers fan group, which has been established in San Antonio since around 2012. Started by Timmy Stewart, who is GVTV's cameraman, the Geek Father, and their friend Alex Trevino, where they just started out as a group of guys who went to movies and together and would kind of film the reactions, and then started getting other people to get online and discuss geeky things with them. And then they started filming more, and they interviewed me at a convention that shall not be named. And after that, they asked me to join the group as a board member. So I've been a member since, I want to say, late 2012. And I warned them, I was like, I'll kind of take over and push you to do a lot. Because I'm not really a sedentary person. And so I guess I'm kind of like the ball of energy in the group.
Sure.
And try to keep everybody motivated and excited and feel like a kid. Like, don't ever lose that kid at heart feeling. Let's get excited about every movie. Let's get excited about TV shows and discussing them. Let's get excited about having events and having people come out and celebrate them with us.
And the cool thing about Timmy, he's an actual camera guy.
Yeah, he's been with ABC affiliate here in town for over 20 years.
Yeah, y'all have a nice setup, I must say. I must say, y'all have a nice setup.
That latest camera that he has.
He got it a few years ago. Yeah, that's his baby. He's very excited about that.
Yeah, you don't have to be there with the iPad and all the wires and stuff like that.
No, but he has
the wires anymore.
He's got it's not exactly a light camera or light accessories either.
But Jason Mewes liked the.
Oh yes, I know.
He liked the iPad.
But yeah, so I do. Then there's the Geek Vengers thing. I'm also a vendor at conventions for me and my little coalition.
We're
of girls.
also a vendor at Game Expo.
Yes, I will be a vendor at Game Expo in a few weeks. We make nerdy skirts and badge pouches and hair accessories and super handmade soaps and
that's
have a little apothecary.
Oddbird's Boutique.
Oddbird's Boutique.
So why did you call it Oddbird Boutique?
Because some members of my family and my friends have said I was an odd little bird since I was a kid.
Go figure.
And my nickname's Lil Bit, so Odd Little Bird. And I was like, is anybody else called Oddbirds? And Oddbirds is a term used for companies, so I just added boutique because we don't have like a set thing that we make and sell, except for like the skirts and the badge pouches. We add new stuff all the time, and I started the company as making weird light fixtures. We would take mannequin arms and turn them into wall lamps that you mounted on the wall.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
Turned books into actual book lamps with the fixtures inside it.
Oh, cool.
My spouse used to be an electrician for 12 years.
Oh, okay.
So I'd be like, I want this to be a light. And so he'd wire it up.
Here, honey,
Nice.
make a light.
So like we got this old World War II radio receiver, like this big box, and put 3 lights on top. The little toggle switch is what turned the lights on.
Nice.
And then he installed a light on the inside so it would make all the panels light up.
Well, that's cool.
We sold that to somebody from New Zealand, I think. They showed up in person. It was like 50 pounds too. And they're like, no, we'll figure out how to get home. It's like, all right.
Okay.
That works.
Yeah, so we started selling light fixtures, and then other people started making light fixtures. So it's for a few years it went that way. It was like I'd come up with something, we'd start making it. Somebody else would show up
Stuart gets that.
a few months later and have the same thing.
Vendors
And some
get
of
that.
it would be like, okay, I recognize you. You came and took photos at my booth the last time I saw you. And now you're making what I have.
And that's why a lot of people have signs up now that says no photos at my booth. Like, don't take photos of my merchandise.
See, the way I look at it is, like our badge pouches, for example. We're the only company that makes it. And somehow we've been the only company that makes it for 4 years now. And a ton of people own them. And we do custom ones. So I have it established when it was announced that we designed it and started selling it online, publicly. So now if somebody shows up with it, if it's designed like mine, I have a precedent where, this is my design, you stole it.
Yeah.
So,
And I have one. I think I have the Star Wars one that has the glow in the dark.
the glow-in-the-dark
Yeah.
print, yeah. So
That was really cool.
and thankfully when people want them, they typically just come to us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we have designs that we've done in a big batch order because somebody wants to order them for their whole team or their whole company. And our head seamstress, Kara, it was her design, and she tweaks it a little bit every year to make some improvements. She's been a professional seamstress for over a decade, so she's able to whip out and order. Yeah.
Well, do y'all sell things online? Or?
Yeah, we sell off our
Okay.
Facebook page. Mainly, we if we have ready-made stuff like skirts already prepared, I've posted it. We started a Shopify store, so you can buy things we already have in stock.
That's good.
We do custom. I take custom orders all the time. People just message us on our Facebook page. Like we have these headbands we make with wires in them, so they stay in place and you don't need to pin them. So people want those in different fabrics. So they just message me and it's like, I want a Spurs one, or I want something rockabilly style, or I want Venom, so we do our best to source the fabric. Sometimes I've had to get them custom printed, which makes the, price go up.
Price goes up.
Yeah. It's the same as, we also do costume commissions and custom skirts, things like that. So sometimes we have a good amount online for sale, but most of the time it's like if you've seen something at a show, message us, tell me what you want. If I have it, I'll give it to you. If I don't, we'll make it. So.
Well, talking about when you're at a show, you actually do a show too.
Yes. So yeah.
That's one of those logos that you didn't send me.
It is.
It wasn't gonna fit if it.
Yeah, me and my man put on the San Antonio Vintage Expo here in town. Thankfully, we're down to twice a year. When we started, he wanted to do it 4 times a year, and it was hell. Well, because you're ending a show and then you're turning around immediately.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Starting
so
to do the
much
next
work.
one,
Yeah.
and to me, it's a bit oversaturation. It's if you're only happening twice a year, like for example, now we're in June and December, so we have a summer show and a holiday show. So people are guaranteed to have a different type of product, even though it's vintage,
Right.
But people are going to bring out their Christmas stuff to the
I love the
show.
Christmas show. I do. I love the Christmas show every year. And he's always afraid to take me because I love these Disney dolls.
Yeah.
And so every once in a while you have a couple of vendors that have them and they'll bring them out and he's like, "Oh Lord, here we go." So I'll come back with more Disney dolls.
Yeah, hey, I'm set up in selling when we do the expo, and I still am like I will not go look at people's booths on Saturday. Now I'm the vendor liaison, I guess you put it. I'm the one who books the vendors and make sure they're okay during the event. So I'll go around and check on them on Saturday, but I will not look at their booth unless something just obviously catches my eye, and then I have to be like, okay, crap, how much is it?
I know. And then I'll do the walk, right? You do the walk, you're like, no, that's okay. Let me think about it.
Yeah.
And then you do the walk, and all through the walk, you're thinking about it, and you're like, I really
Well, thankfully, since I do occasionally get to trade, you know, since I have a table set up, I can be like, do you see anything at my table you want? Like, let's make a deal.
Fiesta medals too, right?
Yeah, we might be taking a year off this year.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of work too.
Yeah.
But I do deal in them.
Mm-hmm.
So I get vintage medals and
well,
sell
and you
the
helped me a
secondary
lot
market.
last year. You like found all the geek ones, and I was like, "Where'd you find that? Where'd you find that?
Yeah.
Where'd you get that?"
No, I do. I'm in a collectors group, so I get announcements as soon as a medal goes on sale.
Yeah.
So I keep an eye out for the nerdy ones because they make less of those. It makes them
less, but I'm surprised how many they do make.
Yeah.
I was surprised when we went out last year and got them.
I've always been really impressed with Diego Bernal's.
Well, you know, it's because he's using Ray Tattoo Boy to design them.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Ray did some of my show posters when I was still touring around with my band. So he's a great artist.
Nice.
Wow.
But yeah, the Vintage Expo, the next one's in June. So it's vintage and retro dealers. And
that's why I wore that.
not just like
80s
toys, comics, things like that. It's, you know, furniture and
even
art,
cards
records, and a lot. There's a big sports section because we're partnered up with the San Antonio Sports Show. So there's that, and then I'm a radio DJ, and I host a weekly music night as well. That was the other logo I didn't send.
Yes. That was the
She's like,
and then we're in the estate sale business, so it's
So what kind of music do you do for your DJing?
Well, my show's called The Hill Country Hayride. It airs Sunday nights from 7 to 8 on 92.1 KMBT out of New Braunfels. It's a commercial radio station, but I have a rockabilly show. So I play, basically my criteria is you need a stand-up bass in your band, because you don't hear that on commercial radio unless it's the Stray Cats, typically, or like Big Bad Voodoo Daddy or something like that. So I play roots, rockabilly music, whether it's true vintage from, 50s earlier. There's also a huge rockabilly scene currently, so I play newer artists and some jump blues in there, some hillbilly honky-tonk vaudeville. Occasionally I'll squeeze like some Ween in there because they have like some country songs that I really like. I got in trouble the last time I played one.
Okay.
It was no, that was the Dead Kennedys. Somebody didn't like the content, insinuating that a dad murdered his daughter, which I was like, it's a murder ballad. Like, that is a common thing in honky-tonk and hillbilly music, like the 30s to the 50s. Every band had a murder ballad. This is the song that, somebody gets upset about? But I was like, Knoxville Girl, Osborne Brothers, 1950s. They're talking about drowning their kid in the river. And I play that all the time. It gets requested, but
wow.
This is the song. Because I don't know if it's because you could hear the words plainly.
Because you knew what they were actually talking about.
Yeah. And then when I play music with my band, it's also the same stuff. I grew up in a hillbilly music family.
Oh, really?
So granddaddy was an accordion and fiddle player. My dad's been a musician since before I was born. So.
And you were doing swing dance stuff. Is that still?
So I ran a local swing dance night Mondays at Sam's Burger Joint. It started in 2000. I took over in 2008, and I ended it in this past December. And now it is called the Hayride Hop, and it's officially tied into my radio show to help give it a little bit of boost and promotion. So there's now like 4 different swing nights in town. When it started, there was like one other event in town. So you can go see swing music every single night. You can get lessons at least 4 nights a week. So I was no longer an event that people needed to go out to. So we were looking for a way to breathe new life into it, and the club said, instead of just leaving, why don't you tie it into your radio show? Give these bands that don't usually get to play San Antonio because there's not a venue for them or a night open for them, a place to go. So some of the bands are still the same bands I booked before, like 2 Tons of Steel or the Georges. But now I had a band from Germany a few weeks ago. It was phenomenal, called the Booze Bombs. And I'm getting a lot of bands I never had access to before. So to me, to have a stand-up bass on stage and playing roots music is there's nothing better.
Two of our 3 sons played the stand-up bass in the orchestra when they were in middle school. So it was always, you know, boom, boom, and pounding on the bass. And we always loved it, and we thought they did a great job. Well, I was kind of hoping one of the 2 would move forward with it, but neither of them did.
To me, like, if you hear somebody, like, really going at it on a stand-up bass, like, how can you sit still?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, whether it's dancing in your seat or getting up on the dance floor, it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
So, and I want to keep that style of music relevant here.
So all the stuff that you do, when somebody says, "Oh, I don't have time to do that," how does that make you feel?
I completely understand, because I'm so busy.
But you're busy.
Yeah.
Because you're actually busy.
But you're actually busy. When like one person has like one job and they say, "Oh, I'm too busy."
I don't take it personally. I also have extreme social anxiety, and sometimes I'm going to tell somebody, you know, I can't make your concert or something because I'm not equipped that day to be in a crowd. So everybody has their reasons for not doing something. Now, if you're going to be somebody that complains to me about, I wish there was more bands like this playing, I wish there was more geeky events like this to go do, and then you turn down every event, then I'm going to get upset about it, because you can't complain if you don't make the effort.
Right.
I have panic attacks in crowds, but if I'm feeling the lack of something in my life, I will find a way to power through and at least show up for an hour to support that event, to, you know, to experience some geeky camaraderie or to hear good music or whatever. I'm going to make the effort to do it. And the excuse will never be, I just don't feel like doing something.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I mean, or I don't want to support. If I can be there to support, I will always be there to support. If I can't be there physically to support, I will share the events. I will make sure other people know about it. You know, and so yeah, if you're going to tell me you don't want to go do something, then share it.
Right.
Just let other people
promote
know.
it. Tell people about it. Do something.
Do you have any suggestions for somebody that wants to learn how to interview somebody else?
Watch other people's styles. Record yourself speaking. Figure out which words you repeat a lot, like because you know I will occasionally catch myself doing that if I'm not prepared. If I'm just doing a stream of consciousness interview, I'm gonna pause and say a lot. I also have this physical tick when my anxiety starts kicking in, where my face goes like this when I'm not speaking, and I catch it all the time on camera when Timmy's filming me, and then I watch an interview as somebody's answering the question. I'm sitting there with the mic going that, and I'm like, what are they thinking when they are seeing my face do this? Yeah. So, I don't know if other people notice it. It bothers me though.
I haven't noticed it.
I haven't noticed it.
Okay.
So
I'm going to notice it though.
Yeah. So like, but yeah, record yourself. One-on-one, practice a fake interview.
Yeah.
In your speaking time. Figure out and don't try to be like other interviewers. Don't be like somebody on Entertainment Tonight, because I promise you, most of those people get tired of those styles of interview because they're being asked the same question over and over and over. Even if it's phrased differently, they're giving the same answers, and those answers are prepared. If you really want a great interview, do a little bit of research into the topic or person you're interviewing.
Right there.
Find something that's different that people don't ask them, because then that person's going to be surprised that you know about it.
Yeah.
Surprised that you care enough to ask about it, and their answer is going to be more genuine. And that's what, to me, that's what you want. You want a genuine conversation and connection with people, because if it's just going to be a generic interview, why put in that time?
Yeah.
Because I can go see that interview on 50 other shows.
Yeah.
So, and you know, why not have the person you're interviewing feel like you are actually invested in that conversation? You know?
Yeah, I like that you're telling people to do their research, because a lot of the times they just think they can ask these canned questions, but you know, if people go in and do their research and find out who these people are and maybe what they've done in the past, and maybe they are at the con and they've got this big picture of them and these 2 or 3 things that people know them from, and they're really tired of talking about those 2 or 3 things. So when you come to interview them, they're like,
well, and I don't even mean just celebrities. I mean, if you're interviewing a costumer, some, you know, a vendor, look at the things around them, look at the costume they're wearing, the clothes they're wearing, because you can see that moment when somebody's eyes gloss over when you ask them something that they are tired of being asked, that they have no personal investment in. They want people to just get over. You know, like, why am I being asked about a show I did 30 years ago? Still, unless it was some, big phenomenon.
Like some big thing,
yeah. So if you put forth the effort, people can tell, and it makes them instantly relax, and it makes them talk to you, not at you.
Yeah, I agree. Well, so I was going to come back to something that you had talked about earlier about being in costume. So you do make a lot of costumes.
Yeah, like 8 a year.
Yeah, a lot. But of all of those, which one do you like the best? What do you like to wear the best? Because you kind of have a spectrum.
No, I do.
It's not like you're in this one lane and you stay there. Yeah.
So last year we did a Star Wars Disney mashup group, and I was Snow White. So that's been one of my.
I love that one too. That's one of my favorites.
I'm gonna fix some pieces on it and redo it again this year. I was really happy with it. Not happy the way it wore, because there were some fabric choices I made that weren't great. But like, I got the contacts for it and freaked everybody out. They would be talking to me like, I can't look in your eyes. So that was very entertaining. Same, like, I made Shadow Weaver from She-Ra and He-Man a few years ago and had the glowing eyes, and that was really cool. I've done Queen Regina.
I remember when
loved
you
Queen
did
Regina.
Leah.
I did steampunk Leah. Oh, do you mean Futurama?
Futurama.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, that was a super comfy costume. So when I came up with I did a Bean from Disenchantment this past fall. I'm going to tweak that one and fix it. That is the most comfortable costume I've ever put on, and I had a lot of fun in it because Bean's a drunk.
But do you sew?
So I can yes, I sew.
Oh, so you sew. Okay.
Well, I learned 4 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Before that, I used to just hand sew and would pick pieces and mash them together and just make them work for the look I was going for. Like, one of my first costumes was Kaylee from Firefly, so I found a flight suit, cut it up, added some patches, made it dirty, wrote Mandarin writing on it.
That's kind of the stage I'm still at. Yeah. I like find things. I'm like at the thrift store and I'm like, oh, that'll work, and I can put that with this and I can make that.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, see, I decided I wanted to be Regina from Once Upon a Time, so I had to learn how to sew. Yeah. And that was the first project, and it took 6 months, and it was so frustrating. But I was super proud when I finished it, and then it was like, okay, I want to sew all the things now.
Very cool. Yeah. So the next show you're going to be at is
yours.
Ours.
Awesome. Yeah, Game Expo.
Game Expo. Well, there's a show tomorrow. We're going to be there.
Oh, yeah, we are.
So we're going to be at Lost in Wonderland at Wonderland Mall of America.
That's why I wanted to pick your brain, because I want to do Cheshire Cat, and I have some like purple and black striped socks, and I'm like thinking of like, I'm going to do a play on the Cheshire Cat, I think. Yeah.
So that's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to be there. But thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah,
really appreciate it. I've been waiting for this to happen for a long time. I was like, we got to get her on. But guys, thanks for checking us out. I'm Vince.
I'm Colleen. That's Jen, and Stuart's over there.
Geek at us, eh?